Are you a motherless daughter? What if we told you we have 20 years worth of truth treasures, pearls of wisdom, and diamonds of hope to help you with your mother loss? We do, and we share all things mother loss on Nurturing Words, Voices of Experience, a podcast by the Motherless Daughters Ministry. Give yourself some self-care and listen as we discuss grief, regret, anger, redemption, closure, and so much more.
Hello, I'm Gladys Bell, your host. Many of you are wrapping up your summer as school starts back. Today's episode is from a timely blog post reflecting summer memories and traditions. The author, Heather Walper, reflects on how different things have been since her mother loss and how sometimes it is hard to stay in the moment and enjoy the season in front of you. I'm sure we can all relate to that. Let's hear Heather's story and focus on ways we can carry our traditions and be present in the season we are in. Every year, I grieve a bit as summer comes to a close. I grieve the end of months spent wading in creeks and swimming in pools. I grieve the end of afternoons spent sitting on curbs eating drippy ice cream cones, and the end of leisurely mornings making waffles. I grieve the passing of time and the passing of childhood. I grieve them being a little taller and a little wiser. And I grieve that we will once again rush out the door each morning and wrestle each night to juggle homework and dinner, activities, and bedtime routines. With the passing of each season, I am ever aware of how fleeting these days are with these little people in the house. Feet that were once tiny enough to fit in the palm of my hand now nearly fit inside my shoes. Hands that eagerly reached for mine now pull away when I reach for theirs. Chubby cheeks have become thin and speckled with the signs of change. Hair bows and fancy dresses have been tossed aside for lip gloss and painted fingernails. With each passing season, I grieve. I grieve what has passed and what is still to come. I grieve with force and experience, knowing that each one of these messy, busy, perfectly imperfect days are a gift. She was 46 that day. I watched through the sliding glass doors as she sat with my father on our patio with a tired, worried look written on her face. She was young and beautiful and right in the middle of raising me. She had swim meets to go to and a school year to finish. She was looking forward to lazy summer evenings, catching lightning bugs, and symphony picnics. And then there was cancer. That summer, we sat together in hospital waiting rooms and treatment clinics. That summer, I forgot that I liked to swim as she forgot to eat and sleep. That summer, rather than spending our moments finding books at the library and making blueberry muffins, she went to a place where she was reminded to sleep and eat. That summer, they found a place for me too, a place that reminded me that summer was for picking strawberries and spending lazy afternoons doing cannonballs, and for a few brief moments, I forgot to worry that my mother might die. This summer, I watched as my children did cannonballs and caught lightning bugs. I watched as they spent lazy afternoons in piles of Legos and on our tire swing. We waded in creeks and splashed in puddles. We watched fireworks and set off smoke bombs. We ate ice cream and went on picnics. And as we went and did and rested and ran and laughed and fought and wrestled and swam, I was morbidly aware that this summer might be our last. Yet, I struggle to live right here and now, to put down my phone, to tune out the noise, to soak up the moments. I get exasperated about piles of clothes and shoes and mess, and fret about laundry to fold and dishes to wash, when today might be our last. So I purpose to live these moments with purpose, to give more hugs, to tell them I love them, to memorize the curves and lines of their faces and the sound of their laughter, to let go of perfect and embrace mess, to live each moment as if it was our last. Quote, teach us to realize the brevity of life so that we may grow in wisdom. Unquote. From Psalm 90:12. We're going to take a short break to tell you about a resource, and then we'll get right back to the podcast.
Mother loss is a lifelong grief journey. The scars go deep and the pain is relentless. It affects every aspect of a woman's being, regardless of age of loss or how the loss occurred. The hole is deep and filled with many emotions. You are invited to our online support community with the Motherless Daughters Ministry online support groups, focusing on the journey and the difficult obstacles that get in the way of healing. To learn more about our weekly support group offerings, visit us online at motherlessdaughtersministry.com.
Now, before we go, let's hear some reflections from our podcast administrator, Sarah Lynn Wells.
Thank you, Heather, for sharing your story. It felt like such a timely message, especially for those of us who are wrapping up our summers and getting ready for school to start back, or maybe have already started school back. My boys are starting school soon, and it feels like this summer flew by. For us, it was a busy summer. My boys are at the stage where there were a lot of squabbles and big emotions as we spent a few too many days outside of our normal routine. Looking back, there were more times than I care to admit where I lost my patience or just felt overwhelmed. But there were also many special memories at the park, having a picnic lunch, visiting a museum, or just playing a game together at home. It's easy to focus on the stress or big emotions or negative aspects, but it's important to slow down and appreciate even the small, simple things. I know I will miss us all being home once our routine starts back up. Like Heather, summer also makes me think of my mom. She was an elementary school teacher for decades, so summer, especially toward the end, was filled with days in her classroom preparing for a new school year. I can still remember the smell of freshly painted school as we spent hours working in her room. I'd help her make copies, put books on the shelves, even sometimes got to help with the laminator. There was always an endless supply of things to cut and hang up. I've been thinking about this more this summer as I work in my own classroom getting ready for a new preschool year. I don't think I appreciated in the moment how fun and special those times with my sister and I were at school. It might have been inconvenient at times for my mom to have us there with her helping, but I have so many special memories of us all at school together. I'm guilty in the hustle and bustle to focus on what is most efficient or quickest, and sometimes that means feeling a little impatient with my young kids. But Heather's post encouraged me to focus on the here and now and creating those special memories with my boys. I certainly hope someday they look back on their summers and remember fun, special things we did, not just the times we all felt overwhelmed. I love the verse that Heather included in her post. Psalm 90:12. Teach us to realize the brevity of life so that we may grow in wisdom. What an important reminder. Sometimes we are so focused on what is not ideal in our situation or what we wish would be different, that we miss the special, unique moments we have in the here and now. I know there are so many moments I took for granted with my mom, and at times I'm guilty of doing that with my kids too. I want to be present and live with gratitude for the blessings I have, but some days just feel really hectic or my emotions feel really overwhelmed. Whether or not you are a teacher or have kids in school, the start of a new school year means the slowing down of summer. May we all approach fall with a renewed sense of slowing down and appreciating what is in front of us and living in the moment.
Thank you for joining us here at Motherless Daughters Ministry. If you need more nurturing words, we encourage you to have a listen to other episodes of this podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe or follow button so you can join us again next time.